All right, officially recording. Welcome to episode 1 of How's It Going to End? This is the start of something that I am, both insanely excited about and kind of extremely freaked out about because it's something that I've kind of been looking forward to for so long, and it's something that I've been planning for a while, but also procrastinating and putting off for a while. Um, but yeah, it's finally officially starting, officially breaking ground, and I thank you if you're listening. It means a lot. It really does. I mean, if you're gonna stick around to hear me, bitching for almost an hour every week, well, shit. Thank you. That actually really means a lot. I don't know why you do that, but uh, I'm glad that you are. So, just to get a couple things out of the way, the podcast is officially on, platforms where you can find podcasts. Audio on YouTube for a while until I set up my actual setup in my room, and then I will start doing video podcast on YouTube. You can also find it on Spotify now, and on Apple Podcasts or iTunes or whatever they fucking did over there. But yeah, make sure to, I think you follow on Spotify, you subscribe on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts. And I know that you have to you can rate on Apple Podcasts, which is a good idea. I feel weird asking for ratings now because there's nothing to make of it, so I'm not going to do that yet. And once again, like I said in the little intro I made for this, if you just so happen to stumble across this podcast somewhere and you find it on maybe YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or the place where I'm actually kind of running it out of is this thing called Buzzsprout, which I saw has the intro episode has 80 downloads, which surprised me. So if you find this in any of those areas, and you don't follow me on Instagram at Comedian of Cinema, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Comedian of Cinema. It's kind of where I've started this entire profile where I get to bitch and moan about movies and video games and TV and all that kind of shit. All right. I don't have a specific thing I want to talk about at the moment. I kind of want to save those honestly for the video podcasts on YouTube. I don't know why. Something about I feel like talking to a camera about those ideas, about like those kinds of topics and themes, feels a lot more comfortable than if I were just speaking into your ear. It was actually really interesting. I was super excited to start this thing, and I was also at the same time extremely intimidated. And I think I was intimidated because it is, like I said also before, it's this weird kind of more intimate form of like entertainment content producing, giving you guys something that doesn't exist without my input, which is a really strange perspective to have. One, because it's a perspective that no one's really asking for, which I guess is most opinions. No one really gives a shit what anyone else has to say. But when it comes to something like this, where I have a following on Instagram of people actually willing to make the jump to something more intimate, like a podcast, where it's not just memes or little bites of news. It's like actually me kind of just going on about whatever, and it's but a more consistent form of that. So yeah, I think that seemed so much more intimidating to me just because there's that whole idea, I think, of can I maintain that? Will I be entertaining enough to do this and have it? One, I don't think, I mean, there's always that fear of like, I guess that's a more prevalent thing nowadays, where it's like, oh, I'm bored of this now and I'm going to move on, which I don't think I don't have that fear currently. I don't expect to have that fear, but I guess the other side of that fear would be other people get bored and they decide to move on, which is understandable. If I'm boring, then yeah, people are going to fucking scram. So the idea of overcoming that, to be like, all right, well, no pressure, but you kind of have to bring it. You kind of have to do something. I was actually gonna start this like a couple days ago and have this up, and then I kind of slowly talked myself into doing this thing where I guess I'll release these every Friday. I was having one of those days a couple days ago where I was almost like trapped in this brain cage of like, no, anything that you do right, anything that you make in this moment is going to be nothing but dog shit. And it's going to be, and you know, I have to constantly kind of like tell myself that this is anything, nothing is as bad as it is in your head. You know what I mean? Like with starting something like this, I was so anti starting it when I really wanted to that it was like, if I didn't right now, when I'm doing it right now, then I wouldn't do it for like another fucking week. And it's there's that whole concept of, would you rather not do something out of fear of it being bad, or would you rather do something and it possibly be good or bad? At least you're doing something. At least you're taking steps. Even if I don't believe in that whole thing of like, you know, one step forward, three steps back. I think any kind of doing anything that is aimed towards progression is always going to be a step forward no matter what. Even if it's shitty, even if it's a fucking dumpster fire, you know? So that's kind of the mentality where I'm at right now with this entire thing. And this is the therapy part that I was talking about in the intro, which is like, you know, this is going to be, as much as it's going to be talking about, you know, movies and all the crazy shit going on in the fucking world, it's a lot of it's going to be a little pocket of the fucking universe for me to dive deeper into thoughts, deeper than they would be in like an Instagram story or a fucking DM or something, you know? All right, gonna move on from some of that stuff and get into some actually interesting stuff. I read somewhere, this made me laugh. I sound like a fucking late night host. Did you hear about this? Have you heard about this? Fucking Jay Leno bullshit. I read somewhere that Netflix is having apparently a new film released every week, once every week in 2021, which is kind of fucking insane to think about the levels of production to that, the levels of how many people were put into work to put something consistently out. I actually don't know if it's consistently every week, or maybe if it's 52 fucking projects. I mean, come on. And there are actually so many that I'm looking forward to coming out. Like there's this fucking Halle Berry one called Bruise, where she plays I think it's like a disgraced UFC fighter. Hold on, I got it right here. Yeah, Bruised, directed by, holy shit, I just realized that. Directed by Halle Berry, starring Halle Berry. So it follows a disgraced MMA fighter who is apparently like trying to take down the best ones in MMA, like the best fighters, which is such an interesting film for Halle Berry to make. But I mean, she's been doing all this crazy fitness shit since John Wick and all that, or maybe even before, I don't know. And then you have another one I'm so excited for is Army of the Dead. I think no matter what people feel about Zack Snyder when it comes to the superhero movies, you can't fucking deny it. The guy knows how to make a zombie movie. Dawn of the Dead, his reboot remake of the classic is one of the best. I mean, the reimagining with fast zombies that are agile and nimble and can chase your ass down. I wouldn't fucking make it. I'm in the Walking Dead world of zombies where they fucking take their time. I can't do it. I can't. When am I gonna? Not to mention they already have I think he just like following filming Army of the Dead, he immediately filmed a prequel for it, which is like, dude, Netflix has to. It's so funny. I sometimes hear stories about Netflix being like a great creative partner, and there's so much proof of that. But then you see some stuff where it's like Netflix makes these weird demands, like with the Avatar: The Last Airbender live action show. Apparently, you know, the original creators of the animated series left over creative differences. And when you hear them talk about it, it sounds like fucking, you know, they're talking about Warner Brothers or some shit. It's like, how does that happen? And then, of course, you have Adam McKay, who's one of my favorite filmmakers. I don't know how someone can make so many stellar comedies, and then he goes into like these informative, interesting, like meta pieces of film. His film Don't Look Up, starring I think every famous person in the world. Hold on, I got it here: Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Timothy Chalamet, Kate Blanchett, Meryl Streep, Jonah Hill, and I know there are so many more that I'm missing. But I mean, Jesus Christ, that's gonna be fucking insane. It's called Don't Look Up, and it's sort of like a end of the world Armageddon type comedy movie, which is it's gonna be. I can already just tell it's gonna be really, really good. So I mean, it's obvious. Everyone knows Netflix is. I mean, especially now with I just actually a couple weeks ago got HBO Max, and I still have Disney Plus because I'm waiting for WandaVision and all that. But yeah, I mean, and they just lost The Office and so many other huge fucking names in their catalog. So it's interesting. We're gonna have to watch. Netflix hasn't had to try, I think, since it first came out, and you kind of told people about it, and people didn't understand it. Like Netflix was like every gear of Netflix was spinning at capacity when they were trying to convince people of the concept of Netflix, of the concept of a streaming service, where hey, you can watch 1,000 different things from your home, or even before when it was like digital streaming, you would have stuff sent to you in the door, and the concept of like you have your DVDs mailed to you. I mean, I remember like the earliest commercials and it's getting to that point where it's like I remember shit. And I mean, when I was 16, 17, and I talk about like a 10-year-old memory, the fuck does a 6-year-old like the memories I have as a 6-year-old matter? But I'm 23 now, and I'm remembering shit when I was 13, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I remember fucking. That's insane having those memories now. But like, I remember a commercial for Netflix where it was like, all you have to do is put in your information and then select the movies you want, and then they will mail it to you. And it was like a little beaver commercial. It was like some fucking beaver going through the tunnels and being like, yeah, and we'll. I don't understand even the appeal, dude. Netflix had terrible marketing in the beginning. How does that even? No wonder people didn't fucking care for streaming services back then. But now. They've been gliding for so long with like this great idea of we are Netflix. We have everything that you want. It is the most seamless streaming service. Everything works perfect. Yada yada. And then Disney Plus is like, all right, I'm gonna break records in 3 weeks, and then, but at the same time, they have like fucking 2 original things that are worth watching for the only 8 weeks that they're on, and then everything else is a bunch of old fucking Disney cartoons that, like, I don't need a fucking warning between Dumbo to be like, hey, just so you know, this was made during a really fucked up time in America. Let's not forget Walt Disney, crazy fucking old man, which is such a fucking understatement to describe the level of like racist anti-Semite he was. But at the same time, it's Disney, so Disney Plus skyrockets to like at least the top 4 or 3 streaming services. And now you have HBO Max, which is like, somehow it's like the young fucking rookie, and yet it's got the most weight under its belt in terms of content. There are 1,000 Netflix originals that I will never watch. I'm not going to watch any of that like ordinary shit. And then you have HBO Max over here that's like, yeah, we got all the Lord of the Rings, we got Citizen Kane, we have every fucking movie that you've heard of, and we're also going to be making our own original content. And yeah, it's $15, but you're going to pay the $15. You know what I mean? It's really interesting how there's a shakeup. Like, I mean, there is this idea of like, soon enough, everything's going to have, I don't know. I don't have Peacock. I'm not going to get, The Office is not worth moving to a streaming service I don't give a fuck about enough. The Office is great. I've watched it, I think I have to at least like almost 9-10 times in the last, I don't even know how many fucking, like, it's just interesting how there's this new shakeup when it comes to streaming services. And yeah, soon enough, who's going to fucking have cable? I mean, cable is just there it's just there. It exists. And if you want to, watch something for like, if you want to watch half of whatever, something that for 15 minutes while you eat food or something, and then you go on for the rest of the day, and while you're on your commute, you watch Netflix. It's like, soon enough that's going to be gone, obviously, and then it's going to be, how many fucking streaming services already exist, and there's only like 4 that people use. Hulu is quietly doing its own thing where it's like, all right, it's fine. Just the one I consistently bitch and moan about the commercial. Why would you have? I mean, you're owned by Disney. Hulu's owned by Disney too, which is hilarious. Why do you do commercials? These like 5-minute fucking commercials for one episode of MythBusters. What are you doing? Why is that? I'm surprised more people aren't fucking complaining about that. I mean, I know I'm being dramatic, but like, Jesus Christ, it's just the most obnoxious shit. And then there's Amazon Prime, which is like, The Boys and a ton of actually stuff you won't find on any streaming service, but it's fucking Amazon. Although I heard about that new Lord of the Rings series on Amazon that's happening. Apparently they have like $1 billion put into it in production, which is, I mean, Jesus Christ, they're going to be making Lord of the Rings movie episodes for this fucking show, that's going to be another fucking like game changer of content, of original content coming from something. Apparently it's like, it's going to be like 10 times what the films were because they have this new template of a series. And that's always the plus of a series is you have, multiple weeks to distribute these perfect little short films, And besides, I mean, there hasn't been an immersion into a world since like the early seasons of Game of Thrones, and only because at least for me, it reminded me of that immersion with Lord of the Rings. Every year at least I have to rewatch the trilogy and the full like it takes a day. You sleep for 8 hours and then it takes you 12 hours to finish all 3 films with all the extra content. Each film is like 4 hours long, I think. So with all the extra content, and if you watch it back to back to back. So yeah, there hasn't been an experience like that. And even with Game of Thrones, with those early Game of Thrones it always felt like that last show where everyone kind of gathered around on Sunday. You can like be confident like at 9:15 on a Sunday night, that there are billions of other people sitting the same way you are around your around your TV. But before that, like when it comes to movies, I can't remember watching a movie and feeling how I felt like I guess maybe when like the end of the Harry Potter movies were coming out, those last 3, even though whichever Half-Blood Prince was kind of a buffer before the last 2, but I guess that's the feeling. But I don't feel that way about the Harry Potter movies now. I could watch those and kind of not. It's like I'm a fan of the movies, but I don't feel that way. And then if I put the Lord of the Rings movies on, I cross my legs like a child, and I'm like, oh, this is a fucking adventure. This is something where it's like, I wish I was more conscious when these movies came out to like see them in theaters and join in with everyone on this insane fucking like cinematic experience. What else can I spend time talking about that's worth people listening? All right, you know what's actually something that really fucking irritates the shit out of me. For some reason, I'm getting a lot of recommendations on YouTube I think it's maybe because I watch pretty much it, and that's the only commentary fucking YouTube channel I watch, but I'm getting recommendations for people being like, Django Unchained, first time reaction, and it's the every fucking thumbnail is like, oh, like the fucking Home Alone kid with his hands on his cheeks, like, oh my God, like, why are people fucking lying? I'm not gonna fucking believe you. Like, at least my entire like recommended page is just those fucking is those channels going, oh yeah, watch Deadpool for the first time and watched what other fucking, yeah, here like this, first time watching Hateful Eight, first time watching Guardians of the Galaxy. If it's taken you 7 years to watch Guardians of the Galaxy, you're fucking lying. I don't believe you. Everybody has seen every movie that they're putting out is insane. They're not putting out like fucking Thoroughbreds, an insanely like small movie that nobody talked about, where it's like first reaction. I've never seen this before. They're putting out movies everyone on the planet has talked about at like a time or another. Yeah, first reaction to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. You're bullshitting. You're fucking lying. Everybody saw it when it came out. I'm not joking. I'm scrolling right now and I see this guy's fucking thumbnail. And it's exactly what I just said before. The hands on the cheeks, mouth open like a fucking fish. You've seen this fucking movie. This is like when Gus Johnson put out that video when Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie, came out. And it was just a bunch of people reacting, quote unquote, fucking reacting to the song Bohemian Rhapsody. Like they've never heard one of the most famous songs in fucking history. Everybody. I heard Bohemian Rhapsody when I was like 8 years old watching Wayne's World. And then I was like, that's a good song because no shit. It's impossible. You're fucking lying. And these things get like 100,000 fucking views. How does that shit happen? Do people just willingly like someone lying to them? Like it was saying whoa at the moments when you're supposed to say whoa? I don't fucking get it. It's like suddenly all these giant reaction channels are reacting to, the original trilogy of Star Wars. Like, dude, I don't fucking believe you. I don't believe you. Avengers Infinity War reaction within the first 10 minutes. This movie made billions of dollars, you fucking liar. You're lying. You have a channel with 100,000 subscribers and you've seen this movie before, but you're putting out first time watching Avengers Infinity. Like, you're oh, God. All right. Episode 1. Okay, the main point I'm trying to make is why the fuck am I getting this shit in my recommended? Cut it the fuck out, YouTube. Okay, let's move on. I forgot I was recording for a second. All right, and these aren't like teenagers who were born after every movie was made. This is not like a 13-year-old, a 16-year-old, or a 17-year-old putting up YouTube videos being like, I've never seen, The Dark Knight, so I'm going to watch it now. Because that is understandable. They were fucking children. They're children now. The point I'm making is like, these are adults. You're fucking lying. I guess it's just more appealing, to be like, this is my first time. People like the idea, the concept of, oh man, we're riding this journey with this guy, aren't we? Meanwhile, they're obviously fucking lying. Filmmaker reaction to 22 Jump Street. Like, dude, everybody on Earth was saying my name is Jeff when 22 Jump Street came out. You're fucking lying. All right. Let's move on. Moving on. The only note I had of that entire idea was first time reaction bullshitters, and that spawned all of that complaining. So congratulations to me. What else is there to talk about? What else do I have written down? How long have I been fucking doing this? This is going by like nothing. Holy crap. All right. Oh yeah, how about that? How about Deadpool? Deadpool 3 is like officially happening and it's officially R-rated and they've made it official that they're writing it. Kevin Feige. Is it Feige or Feige? I hear people say both. I think it's Feige. He finally confirmed, it's about fucking time, I mean, it's Deadpool. Come on. It's only one of the best. Whether the quality of the films, whether you like them or not, Deadpool, those first two are like game changers when it comes to the rated R comic book movies. So why the fuck? It's like, it's criminal that Deadpool was in limbo for so long following the Fox merger. So, get on it. Come on. You're going to make another billion, another instant fucking billion, Disney. Deadpool is the one character that should be in every Marvel movie. That's the whole appeal to the MCU, which is like, you're going to get to see all these characters interact. You're going to see Spider-Man's going to walk in the same frame as, Iron Man and all that shit. and that's fine. You know, I love the idea of it. That's what that gives everything a comic book feel. You have the idea that you're reading actual issues. Every average solo movie leads to a kind of like a bump in these team up movies that feels like a whole like culmination of comic books, which is that's a feeling like no other when you read something that leads to a whole thing with so many intricate moving parts. And then when you do it in movies, it's like, yeah, it's crazy. The visualization will always be something. Having all those characters on at the same time in the same frame will always be something monumental. I mean, that first that spinning shot in Avengers 1 is like the shot. Everyone, the Hulk screams, Iron Man lands there, Cap pulls a shield, what's her face cocks her gun. Those are the moments that like make those movies worth it. But and then at the same time, it's like further along you go, the substance starts becoming less of a priority, and the major priority becomes, let's have these people in the same frame together, and that's fine. After a while, it's like that's if that makes the money, that's what's going to be that's what's going to make the fucking money. That's what's going to bring eyeballs to the seats, or to your streaming service now. So. But like I said, I mean, it's substanceless. You get to have that moment of like, hey, that's fucking what's his name and what's her face. They're on the same movie right now, and then that's it. That's kind of like the whole point of the movie. There's never enough to be like, well, does it justify having them all together, or do we just do it because we can do it? Which is most of like every cameo or every team up movie of the last at least 4 or 5 years. But when it comes to Deadpool, he's Deadpool. He's the one character that knows all of everything is made up and fiction. He belongs in everything. He's the character that he's the one that walks through the frame and is like, oh, hey, this is happening. And then like he's the one with a sense of humor, that self-acknowledging sense of humor that permeates everything Disney makes, where, someone is taking something seriously and then the comedy character goes, are we really doing this right now? Like, that's the most fucking, oh my God, I'm so tired of that fucking sense of humor. It's so, I mean, overplayed is a fucking understatement. It's like they're beating the shit out of it and people love it. Like there's that deleted scene, which I'm so glad they kept out of Endgame, where they're going over plans to get the Infinity Stones, and they talk about how, they had to fight the Chitauri in Avengers 1, and then you have Rocket, which is like, of course they're going to do this. Of course. I can't think. I could have written this line fucking 10 years ago if I had known this information for this movie, that they would have done this. Where Rocket's like making fun of them for having to deal with the Chitauri, because apparently what he said, like the Chitauri is the shittiest army in the galaxy or some bullshit. And it's like, oh, that's great. That takes out everything from that movie. I don't give a shit now. I can watch that movie and be like, oh, well, why are they struggling? This is the shittiest army in the galaxy. I don't care anymore. And that's something that I don't do myself. They do that to their own stuff. That's self-acknowledging type of humor. It's like, oh, yeah, let's not forget, snarky fucking joke about how everything is bullshit. That's not, every other character can't be having that sense of humor. If every character has that sense of humor, it's not fucking a character trait anymore. That's an archetype, And Deadpool is the embodiment of that sense of humor. He's the one that would be like, oh yeah, I mean, Deadpool 1 has that so many great lines like that are just little jabs at the construction of everything. We're going to take you back to see the professor. He goes, oh, McAvoy or Stewart. Like the timelines are so confusing. He is the character that should be solely doing that sense of humor. So it's hilarious that now, after what? I think, when did they buy Fox? What, a couple of years ago, year and a half ago? There's been no progression until now when it comes to a Deadpool 3, which is like, all right, whatever. At least maybe now, the fact that they've committed to it being rated R I hope this leads to more rated R stuff. If Blade is fucking PG-13, man, I mean, you can't bring in Mahershala Ali and the awesome character of Blade back to the movies and have it be PG-13. You can't. It's gonna just water down the fucking awesomeness that is the character. You need it to be brutal and bloody. It's fucking. He's a vampire hunter, for Christ's sake. You can't have it slice across and they just fall and you see nothing fucking ooze out. I'm so tired of, faceless armies getting taken out and there's nothing. Like, these are like billions of bodies. How is there not blood caked all over New York City or all over fucking what was it? Not Slovakia, Sokovia. Jesus. But yeah, that's gonna be good if they maintain it. That it's rated R. If there aren't any side swipes, where suddenly there's been a change in creative direction, whatever bullshit. And if Ryan Reynolds writes, and if I imagine they would keep David Leitch on to direct. If all that works out, that's gonna be another fucking gem, All right, as I'm recording this, the headline: Chris Evans is apparently reprising his role for Captain America, is being released. And that's fucking hilarious. Because no shit, obviously they're doing that. Obviously that would happen. Why would they appreciate the respectful ending they gave a character when they can bring him back because they know it'll make money? I mean, all right, what else is there to talk about? Scrolling through IMDb movie news. So is Armie Hammer a fucking cannibal? Because Jesus Christ. Who knows if those DMs are real or not, but starting to look like Armie Hammer's a fucking cannibal. If you don't know what I'm talking about, someone released a bunch of DMs of his where he's like, nothing I am saying right now is what these DMs said. I'm just making fun. One of them was like, I'd love to fillet you or whatever the fuck. And it's him being like, I know this is wrong. Why am I feeling like this? And who fucking knows if it's actually him? But Jesus Christ, he just left. He pulled out of his movie with Jennifer Lopez. What's it called? Shotgun Wedding or something like that. Because of all this crazy shit. He called them bullshit accusations, which, hey, I mean, what else can you fucking call them? People are calling you a fucking cannibal. So that's an interesting little bit of news. I think that's actually more underwhelming news when it comes to news of daily life these last fucking 17 years since the beginning of 2020. Severe left turn I'm gonna make right now. I'm stoked for WandaVision. That's gonna be good. I know I feel like I'm going all over the place right now when it comes to stuff to talk about, but WandaVision comes out to the day I am putting this out, I think, right? Friday. And Friday the 15th. And I'm looking forward to how they play on the classic sitcom archetypes and how they can weave Scarlet Witch's powers into a narrative, because she's one of the most powerful, in the comics too. I mean, she wipes out the mutants and she can create whole realities, which it looks like that's what they're going to go into more. They started off with their powers being some form of energy bending, which is the default for when they bring a superhero on, and you can't really explain what their power is, but they make their hand go whoosh and something explodes. But now they're going into the power of Scarlet Witch. That's why she's called a witch. Is she's got this cosmic level of magic to everything that can go into the mental and physical. So I'm looking forward to that. Plus Elizabeth Olsen. I mean, yeah, Paul Bettany's there too, but Elizabeth Olsen, right? It'll be interesting to see how people are saying how this is going to be some kind of a reboot for the MCU. Not the actual content of WandaVision, the way that they've produced it and everything. Everything being weaved through Disney Plus is a huge thing. I mean, Disney's doing it not just with Marvel, but with Star Wars. They realized how fucking much of a failure the sequels were in narrative hindsight, and how nobody went to see Solo, so they're definitely not going to do any more of those a Star Wars story movies. But because of the Mandalorian, obviously they realized that the money lies in you know, singular stories that relate to the grander Star Wars Skywalker saga. Which is, I mean, it's there's no saying. I mean, I was so worried with the Mandalorian when it came to that. I loved how much of a small story it was. I liked that it was not related initially in any way. And then the further it became related, I was fearing but I was like skeptically fearing oh no, what? I hope they don't ruin this, but they didn't. They weaved it in to that fucking lame ass giant story revolving one family in a really interesting and creative way. So I'm really looking forward to all those new shows and everything they got going on. Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, all those. Rogue, what was it? Rogue Squadron with Patty Jenkins. I'm looking forward to that too. I don't care if people want to flip on a dime how they feel about Patty Jenkins. I'm really excited for that. I want more personal stories that have nothing to do with the fucking Skywalkers when it comes to what I want from Star Wars. Tired of the fucking Skywalkers. Get over it. Move the fuck on. If you revolve your entire franchise around this fucking you've been doing the same story for fucking 50 years. Move on. Give some creative people money and let them create more content like The Mandalorian. That not more, something that often happens when something is popular or successful financially and critically is executives go, "Oh, there we go. We need more of what that is." And it's like, no, not more of that. We need more creativity. It's like one of the most common missteps of Paranormal Activity. Perfect example. Something that took what I think Paranormal Activity cost like $12,000 to make, and it became one of the highest grossing horror movies or movies ever. I don't know the fucking statistic, but it's so that happens, and then the studio goes, "Oh shit, people like ghosts right now," and then 1,000 shitty fucking ghost movies come out that have millions of dollars in a budget, and they do moderate because I mean I guess that's a pretty bad example. People are always going to see fucking paranormal movies no matter what. But when it comes to the quality of something like Paranormal Activity, you're not going to get it again because you're trying to replicate it. You can't replicate it. That shit happened because no one fucking believed in it. Same with fucking Joker. People are like, "Oh right, we need more movies like Joker, dark and gritty." It's like, no, we don't. Joker is Joker. Let it fucking be and leave it over there and leave it alone. What you do now is you go to another director with a creative, interesting vision and you give them a bunch of fucking money. You don't put down those interesting new ideas because of what you think is going to fucking rake it in. Joker cost what? I think 60 million, just under. And from what I understand, they were actively trying not to make it. There was an executive at Warner Brothers that was like, I'm not going to let you make this. This is not going to happen. But because someone else, another executive was actually looking forward to it, who that executive actually ended up getting fucking fired from Warner Brothers. If you look it up, you'll know the names. I'm too lazy to check it now. But yeah, then Joker makes fucking billions of dollars. And now you have people being like, yeah, we need more realistic, more dark, more edgy villain movies. Let's do a movie for Two-Face. Let's do a movie for whatever. It's never, ever going to work the way it did because you're trying now. You can't... In the act of trying to replicate fucking magic, you're going to poison yourself is what happens. You're going to come up with something that not only is below average in content and substance, you're also going to affect what you like a Joker sequel. Fuck off. Leave it alone. I don't care how much money they give Joaquin Phoenix. I don't care what him and Todd Phillips think if they can come up with an interesting story. Todd Phillips tried that with The Hangover 2 and 3, and they're fucking awful. And now I get sad when I watch The Hangover 1, and it's still good, and I laugh my ass off, but I get fucking sad knowing that 2 and 3 follow it. Just leave good shit alone. Give creative people money. That's what I'm going to run for fucking public office with that slogan. Give creative people money. It's not a fucking coincidence when people who don't give you what you expected are successful, because what you expected is not groundbreaking. You expected it. It's the same with the fucking. I'm all over the place right now, but this is feeling fucking like a free flowing, like the what's the word? Free flowing thought right now. It's like with Empire Strikes Back and revealing that, you know, Vader is Luke's father. That the subversion of expectations was fucking monumental. No one even thought that was part of the story. Everyone was okay with accepting, you know, Luke's father was killed by Vader, and to subvert the expectations the way they did was monumental in storytelling alone. And then to have them like the exact rip, it's like such a beautiful, messy ripoff of their own stuff. When Disney has like, you know the truth, you're a Palpatine, to Rey in Rise of Skywalker. It's like, oh my God, you guys don't even know. Like, Star Wars doesn't exist because of the twist. The twist exists because Star Wars exists. If you build it, and they obviously everyone knows the sequel trilogy had no kind of roadmap or you know anything, but building a movie around one fact is like so fucking lame, and you know it's executives and people who were scrambling to put that fucking piece of shit together, who were like, what do people like? People like when someone turns out to be the parent that they kind of. When someone turns out to be the parent of our main character, oh man, okay, we'll do that. We're gonna bring Palpatine back, and he'll be the grandfather of Rey. Dun dun dun. Like, no, like the correct way to do that is what Rian Johnson did in The Last Jedi. But every fucking Star Wars dork bitched like crazy because this subverted my expectations. Yeah, no shit. You would have bitched if you watched the original trilogy. Like the Star Wars fans now erase their memories, put them back in 1970 or whatever, and have them watch Empire Strikes Back. Clearly, they don't want something that would, progress in quality. They want what they want and what they're familiar with. And, you know, there's that quote of like, you know, before the car existed, everyone wanted a faster horse. People don't know what they want next. Give them what they want next. People don't know. When the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie was announced, oh my God, the amount of people. Why do we even need this? So who asked for this? Go fuck yourself. Now you're all sucking its dick. All right, how long am I going now? I all right, just almost an hour, I think. I don't know. I mean, it's actually kind of amazing, going back to Star Wars, how like the cosmic irony of the sequels and the prequels and the original trilogy. I mean, you have the original trilogy, which is this monumental, you know, feat in cinematic history, you know, in for the time that they made them, and for the quality of the screenplays. You have something pretty all right, you know. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. A classic, you know, hero's journey told over three films, and it's great. That narrative structure works well, and they knew what they were doing, and boom, Lucas had a plan there. And in terms of quality of like the actual cinematography and the score and everything, John Williams, perfection in everything, no matter what. And then, you know, Frank Oz and Toby Philpott, the puppeteering of everything in those movies and the animatronics, like. And then you move on to the prequels, which is like, it's so amazing that this flip, the reaction, the toxic reaction towards the sequels, what this did to the prequels. Like, you know, the prequels are, they're really enjoying the fact that the sequels exist, because they're getting some fucking love right now, and it's fucking mind-boggling to me. People have to remind themselves how awful those movies are. Here's the only good thing. Okay, there are a few good things about the prequels. And they're very few, like 2-3 things. They had a plan. Lucas had a plan. For some fucking reason, he wanted to show people young Darth Vader, which is like, fine. You want to take your insanely baddest villain and show us when he was an annoying little kid? Sure, fine, whatever. You have a plan. You show his corruption over 3 movies, even though his corruption was like, it took nothing. It took nothing for Anakin Skywalker to become evil. Literally nothing. Nothing at all. Just do it. That's it. Nothing at all. Chops off fucking heads, kills kids, and it's literally nothing. And but you at least have this arc. It could have been created better, but you have this arc. And then, you have the advancement of like modern day, choreography and shit. You get to make the lightsaber battles all awesome and flippy, and that's awesome. And maybe you get a couple better performances. Ewan McGregor and who else? I guess just Ewan McGregor actually. Now that I think about it, but you have this severe lacking on the technical side. Blue screen and green screen, everything. The fucking plates and cups and forks and why would you? Whatever. You know what I mean? When it comes to the prequels, technical quality is shit, awful. Every little CG bump in, when they redo everything. And then they did that to the original trilogy, and people are like, Jesus Christ, why would you do that? And then you go to the sequels, and it's like the way the pendulum swung from the prequels to the sequels is amazing. They went from advancing technologically infinitely, like the cinematography of a new Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Return and Rise of Skywalker is unbelievable. It's actually insanely like aesthetically pleasing, and I really, really enjoy it. There are so many memorable shots from those 3 movies alone, and the performances are obviously better. It's 20 years later, and you have better fucking actors in these movies. But then you have no fucking plan, no plan at all, which is amazing. The reaction to like, all right, we're going to give them everything they want except for something that they actually want, which is a good story. You're going to get to see Han, Leia, Chewbacca, Luke, a bunch of these fucking people that, hey, we're going to go, hey, that's from the fucking whatever, that's from the old one, which is like, hey, that's great, but what else is there? You need something more. And I don't think I'm alone when it comes to that kind of those thoughts. I'm feeling like this might be it. All right. What am I at? Hold on. I took some pauses in there, so I'm not sure exactly where the hour is at. But you know what? I'm gonna leave it there. This was fucking great. I actually really enjoyed this. Kind of just sitting here and unloading. If you listened to all this, holy shit. If you're here right now and you were here at the beginning and you're willing to actually just listen to all this bitching. I went from the fucking streaming services to the prequels. I mean, Jesus. Went all over the place. Thank you. Thanks for starting this with me. Episode 1. That's fucking wild to start this thing right now. And I'm excited and I'm intimidated, but it's a good intimidation. It's the intimidation that gets your ass moving, Once again, you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube, where I will be putting out an only audio version on YouTube for now. And you can also follow the podcast on Spotify because Spotify has you follow it. Yeah. And follow me on Instagram at Comedian of Cinema. I post daily and I'm very active on it. All right. See you next week.